This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us on our Winter 2019 webcast. This is the first one we've done this year, so there's a lot of materials to cover. And so we have the next 60 minutes to get through the materials that you're about to see. I have muted everybody. If you have questions, you can chat in the chat window, and I'll be happy to answer them. And at the end of the session, hopefully we'll have a few minutes so you can ask questions as well. I have the recording turned on, so anything you see here today, I will post to the website, and you can see the webcast as a recording. So we decided to do this top 15 webcast to review all of the new things that we've been putting in over the last few months. And it turns out that we have quite a bit of content, and I'm hoping we can get through most of it. I will be moving quite quickly. If there's something that you need more detail on, we can certainly do on-site training or web training to fill in the details. So without further notice, let's get started. This is the agenda for today. And like I said, there's a fair amount of content because what's happening is we've been keeping our heads down and adding to the product pretty much on a weekly basis. And it's a lot of these items don't get reported on, and this is the purpose of today's webcast. I wanted to show you guys this typical ecosystem because what we're finding with Builterra is it's starting to permeate other divisions in the engineering office. And so this webcast will deal with some of it as our integration piece at the end of the webcast. But what we're seeing is that Builterra is becoming a data framework for more than just contract administration, but all kinds of different mobile inspection and reporting. So keep that in mind when you're reviewing Builterra or using it, that other people in your organization can probably get a benefit from its database framework. And I actually call this the BIM solution for civil engineering realized because it is, to me, going in that direction. And as we add more functionality, you're going to start to get a more of a building information modeling feeling to Builterra. This is what we're going to look at today, which is the specific changes to the contract administration framework. So we'll be looking at various aspects of this graphic in detail. And so each one of them has some updates and some things that maybe we added maybe a year ago, but we didn't really advertise very much. So part of this is the core platform. So the very first spot is what have we done to the website, and the core platform has some small updates: the project map overlay, tasks, documents, and sharing with external users. So these are items that have been around for a while with Builterra, but we wanted to sort of get a presentation out there that highlights them so you can start using them. The project map overlay, like I said, has been embedded in the product for about 2 years with the Esri shapefile. But people weren't using the Esri shapefile. They really just wanted sort of a Google Map type overlay that they could add to their project. So this video that I'm about to show shows how to add a project overlay based on just picking points yourself. So you can add pretty much any shape you need here to define the project. So when you go ahead and edit the project details, there's an overlay tab. And now in the top left-hand corner, you see a toolbox of shapes and line work. So it's as simple as just digitizing, almost like a CAD package, really. You can put in line work, like I said, filled shapes, and these become overlay objects in the actual Builterra project. So very similar to a Google shape draw. So this video shows the actual step-by-step. And so these shapes are shown in the project and in the inspection portal. So if you're moving, if you have inspections, you can see the overlay in the background. So that's a pretty simple example of that. Oh, I think somebody took over on the presenter. So there we go. Okay, so I'm the presenter again, and hopefully, if you can't see anything, let me know. I just want to make sure before I go to the next slide. Okay. So the next bit of part of this is the assigning project tasks. This is another core platform update that we added probably about 6 months ago, and the tasks are essentially almost like punch lists or to-do lists for a specific project, and these tasks go to the mobile inspector. So very similar to some of the vertical construction apps that you see on the market. And so assigning the project task, we do have a short video that shows this. So I have a fair amount of video for this webcast. And like I said, if you have any questions, you can text in the text box and I can answer it while the video is going. So this is using the same project. And when you add a project task, it's done on the website. So you can, as a project manager, add a task, and it can be anything. In this case, please collect some survey data. So, and this can be assigned to the entire group of inspectors. So you could say, remember to fill out your timesheet or something, and that push message would go out to all of the inspectors. And on the phone itself, you'll see a push message come through, and you'll see that in a second. So now that the that task has been added to the particular project, and if we go to the next slide here, there's the mobile device. So I have tried to add some mobile device videos, which I don't normally do. So this is on the Android. You'll see a push message that says that there's an open task, and the inspector can then go ahead and add notes to that task. So these are all collected and warehoused on the project site. So if the person changes the response to the task, then it's now completed. So that task now is logged as complete. And on the website now, you'll see that the actual task is logged as completed, and you can download these to a spreadsheet for archiving. So that's the project task functionality of the core platform. Project documents is the next piece that we're looking at. This is sort of was our response to some of the document management requests that we've had. So instead of using a separate product like BIM 360 or even Dropbox, you could upload any PDF for the project, and this would be for simple PDF markup. So when you have or viewing for that matter. So if you have a mobile device like an iPad or an Android device, anything added to this docs list is viewable on the mobile device. So adding a project doc is as simple as clicking the plus symbol on the web interface. And again, we'll show a quick video to that effect. So selecting the project is the first step. And you don't have to edit the details. You can go straight to the docs folder and click on the plus add a doc. So you can go ahead and grab any PDF document. This could be a report, could be a set of drawings, single drawing. And now that it's been added, when the mobile inspector queries the docs option in the mobile device, they'll see this list of drawings. So it's as simple as that. It's not very complicated. We've tried to make Builterra very simple to use, as simple as we could make it. So on the mobile device, in this case an iPad, when you want to view the documents, you'll first have to select the account and the project. Picking a form is always a first step there. So in this case, I'm doing a catch basin inspection. I'm going to go ahead and do a full-blown inspection, I guess. This is the video we're seeing. And if I just stop that right there and go back a bit, on the lower menu, there is after you've added the details, there's also a photos option and a docs option. And this is a setting that you'll have to, through the action menu, there's a option to review, to show docs. So this isn't part of the default setup. You'd have to go to the settings and change it to see it, because it's kind of a new feature, and some people didn't need it, so they don't want to show it. So the docs is a file folder on the lower right-hand corner of the app. So when you go ahead and select docs, it gets the files in real time based on those uploaded files. So this can be anything you need it to be. Could be specs. If you actually have tendering specs, if you use Builterra to complete the project for tendering or bidding, then you'll see a list of all the bid item documents that were attached to. So a lot of people want direct access to specifications, so that would be handy to have. So under the docs option, you go ahead and pick a doc, and it's very similar to any other doc viewer, PDF viewer. You can use a set of markup tools to put in a line work. And these are all fairly new controls that we've had out for about 2 months. And go ahead and add a note. So it's very similar to a typical PDF editor. When you save it, and let me just go back there so we can see what that looks like, is when you go ahead and save this document, you'll see an additional document on your device. So what it's done is it's downloaded the document from the project, which, if it's a large PDF, take some time, and it's made a copy on the local device. So when it says local, it means that's the marked up copy, and that marked up copy is the one that you can keep contributing to or keep editing. And as long as you keep editing the local, then it's a combination of all of the edits that you made, right? Okay, so once that's been set up, back on the website, if you want a copy of that, every time you make a markup, it syncs back to the project, in this case the inspection, because that's where typically the docs are stored when they're edited. So that particular PDF is stored as part of this contract admin inspection. And so remember the CD inspection that we created? So if you look under the filing cabinet, that's an option to use supporting documents, you'll see that the plan and profile sheet is now been uploaded to that particular inspection. So if you're doing like an erosion sediment control drawing or something that requires a markup, then it's part of that inspection. So it's an actual edited PDF. And that's the document markup system that's currently available with Builterra. So like I said, we have a fair amount of content, so I am moving fairly quickly. This session is being recorded, so you can look at it later if I'm moving too quickly. And again, if you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat window. Sharing projects with external users. When I say summer 2019, this PowerPoint is, we're currently refining the use of the external users, and it'll be very slick and easy to use this summer. The backbone of the sharing has already been completed. We've had that available for about a year now, but we will be dressing up the interface and making more use of this part of the product. We have a lot of owners like cities and regions using Builterra, and we have a lot of consultants using Builterra. So pretty soon what we're going to be seeing in the market is the consultants will be asked to provide daily reports or payment certificates as part of a project that's being shared by the city. So we sort of wanted to get ahead of that and let everybody know that it's possible to share your project with another external person or company. So the procedure is fairly straightforward, but it's not quite as graphically exciting as what we should have had. So we're trying to fix that now, and we should have it ready this summer. So the current way to share your project is in these two videos. So if you're a city, in this case, the municipality of Canal, I think it's a fictitious city or municipality. So what happens is you can go to the account and you can share the account project with whoever's email you type in. When you add user, we can pick the user and the project that they can share. In this case, there's only one project. Then what's happening is you'll share the, and let me just pause that. You'll share the, as they can be an inspector and a tender manager, which means they have access to contract items for progress reporting. And so what that means is you've given them the right to add data to your project. So this would be great for a city to give the consultant access to their forms, to their project directly. So the daily reports you'll be doing are completely owned by the city instead of back and forth. Conversely, you can give you access to somebody, a project manager at the city. So if you're wanting to share your project specifically to a project manager, you can do it through here as well. So once you add them, they're now a part of that project, that single project, and they'll be listed as an external user on the project portal. So on the next video, this is what the consultant would see when they log in. So let me just go to that video. Sorry. So this is what the city person would see. They'd see the external user, Jordan Short. He's an inspector on 2 forms, and he's a manager. So that's what the city person would see, or somebody at the regional municipality. On the consultant's side, when they go ahead and log in as they normally would, okay. So Jordan's just an inspector that works for a consultant. When they go to the inspection portal now, they see the Canal admin. That's the actual project that was shared to Jordan from the city. So Jordan can go ahead and start doing inspections using that account. And it's, all of the photos, all of the contract items, everything are being stored at, as part of the city account. So that's kind of what we're looking to streamline this summer with the interface. Okay. The bids and tenders update. These are various items that were updated in the way you create a bid and manage the bid. So some of them are simple interface changes around data entry. Others are more complex, like the cost sharing and the scheduling. And we're going to go through those in detail as well. So just do a time check. I think I'm okay for time so far. Like I said, I am recording this session, so you can replay it if I'm going a little too fast. So the bids and tenders update, the cost sharing is the biggest thing we added the last couple months. So this is the ability to set up percentages of who's paying on a particular bid item. And this could be, if you're part of a city group, then you want to split it up based on accounts. If you're part of a land development consultant, you can split it up based on landowner. So there's pretty much any splits that you want, you can add them directly to the bid now. So This means any cost estimates that are produced, you'll see the difference in the who pays what. Same thing with payment, progress payment applications or certificates. You'll see who should be paying what based on these splits. So it's a great new addition that we had to add for some of our city contracting people. So let me just click on that. So big cost sharing. So yeah, so basically if I've added, in this case, this is a land development example. So Mattamy and Fieldgate, depending on which item, I mean, this is a fictitious example. So this would be two landowners or two development companies. And when you download the, there's a percentages button here. It will download a cost sharing report based on, it'll look just like a tender, but now it's got the total and it's got the two landowners here. So it knows what the splits are based on the overall section. And if you select any of the details tabs along the bottom, it'll show you the exact percentage on every item. And there it is. So in the payment certificate or the payment applications interface, there's a new field called cost share. So what this means is you can create a PC, and it's an overall payment certificate, of course, but now you have the ability to add which cost share, and then when you download the spreadsheet, you can download one for each person, so you have to download it a couple of times, but essentially you're getting one for Mattamy and one for Fieldgate, and the values are different depending on how much they should pay. So it trickles through, like I said, fully integrated system, right from the bid process all the way through to payment application. So this is we've had this request for a while, and now we've delivered on it. The enhanced bid item selection was based on some of our comments from our city clients who are using other systems, and the other systems were very basic. They're mostly just an item code and description-based system. Not like our land development customers who have very specific codes for the use of CAD takeoffs. So we've actually not really highlighted it until this webcast, but we've got 4 different ways to add items to your bid. The first one is its pre-assigned catalog section. So in the red sanitary sewer section of your bid sheet, it's actually assigned to the circular PVC sanitary section in the catalog. So it's a one-to-one connection. And so that gives people sort of a head start on picking items. That's kind of what we would prefer. But then again, you know, that's some people just like to do searching. So the catalog search is the black search button there. And so what it means is you can select that, you can save it if you hit the save button, and it saves that section table to always do a search. So every time you make a little change in the way you like to search, you can always save those options back to the bid item table. So in this case, you're going to just type in the keyword sand, and you'll get all the sanitary items. If you typed in the code ID, you'd get the code ID item pretty quickly. And then you can grab it and drag and drop it into the tender for the bid. The next one is the past search. So this is it's kind of not a great example because there's a lot of class 100D pipes in your previous contracts. But what if you did a very unique item and you can't remember which product it's from and you'd like to use it again? So what will happen is you can do a keyword search from past tender or past bids. And it'll look, this one takes a little while to load because it's going through all your bids. But once it's loaded in the cache memory, then it's very quick to search those past bids. The next thing is the tree view. The tree view was a response to us replacing a system that uses this type of interface. So the user has the ability to select multiple items through a checklist, and then hit the plus symbol, and it will add it to the the bid sheet. So these four methods, and I actually, this is a zoom in on all that, but the next couple slides actually go through it in detail. So that's the first one, the direct assignment. And this is very specific requirement for CAD takeoff. So when you're using Design Connect for Civil 3D, you want to make sure that your table is connected to a specific item type. Okay, that's the biggest thing. When you type in a keyword, there it is there. Kind of going through the same thing. I've got some warnings in here. It says takes a few minutes to index the old project data, so you have to give it a minute or two to query all that data so you can type in your search. And this is the pick list concept here. So again, picking any item and pushing it into the single table. Again, this is usually based on an item code, description, quantity, and unit type table. In other words, a very basic level 1 table. So these are the four new methods to add data to your bid sheet. The batch edit is something we added. There was a thing called inline edit, dialog edit, and now there's a third one called batch edit. And this batch edit leverages the new control for our grid that feels like Excel. So you can, once you click batch edit, it will cache the pay items table in memory. You go ahead and use your arrow keys to just type in as fast as you can, just like Excel. And when you're done, you'll save it. So once you start editing, the save button will appear and you have to save it. It's not an automatic save like the other methods are. So that was, again, another big request for people who like to very quickly type in their quantities. Okay, so batch edit's now available. And the schedule. So this is the next thing we added. So scheduling is, we have a lot of big ideas for this. We've got the backbone in now, so the start date and the end date. And the concept is that if we can put in, put in some schedule to this, we could export to a Microsoft project, we could import from Microsoft project. So we're looking at some interoperability with Microsoft project. The other thing we're looking to do is exporting the idea here is that the minute you start doing the inspections, that must be your start date. So it'll automatically start registering the start date for like an actual start date versus your proposed start date. And then you'll have an end date, which would be your last inspection. So the Gantt chart that we're all used to seeing would be fully automatic as far as actual starts and ends. You don't have to do that manually. It'll just use the inspection data, because the inspection data is being used for quantity, so it must relate back to schedule. So that's going to be covered, and then there will be a lot of reports on progress and other things. So we're looking to have a pretty good scheduling system, reporting system this summer. It'll export probably to Excel for now, and this is just sort of a little bit of a mock-up that I came up for the presentation, but the idea that it'll probably be very simplistic export to Excel or to Microsoft Project. So it'll look just like your schedule, unit prices, your bid sheet, but then instead of having pricing, it'll have the calendar dates and a lot better looking graphics probably. So that's kind of where we're going with this. And obviously we'd love some suggestions if you have a need for this. We're open to any suggestions to make it really useful in the future. So the Gantt chart should be a nice addition to the reporting of Builterra. The bid comparison report is the other thing that we've been working on. We've improved the Excel export just recently, so you'll see a demo of that in a second. And part of that development was we decided to make a better looking Word or PDF version of the graphics. So I'll show you a mock-up of what that looks like, but we are releasing that this summer as well. And we're pretty good about doing the releases. It's not like, we say we're going to have it and we don't have it. A lot of times it's because it's imminent, but I decided to put summer just in case. But it'll probably be ready long before then. So the export to Excel is, again, we've improved it. I'm not sure if you tested it recently, but over the last couple of months, it's been worked on, let's just say. So it's coming out a lot cleaner. So when you have 3 bidders, when you do the bid comparison, we can go ahead and download to Excel, and it'll produce a spreadsheet, the same spreadsheet that you're normally used to seeing on, or preparing manually, even if you're not using Builterra. So this shows you all of the bidders in the summary page of the bid sheet, and all of this is all automatic. And so it's quite clean now, and it shows you all of the data in a pretty organized format. Okay. The next thing was the export to Word or PDF. Basically, it's the same thing for us. It's either Word or PDF. So this is a video that this is more of a concept video that we've pretty much got the code written. We just hadn't released it. And so it'll produce a Word document with, it looks like a report. So this is going to have project details, custom details, and then all of your tables and graphics will be displayed. So you can give that to a client and actually have a conversation about what you're seeing with the bids. So that'll be, we'll release it this summer once we get the graphics cleaned up. The mobile field app, again, I am moving fairly quickly because I know there's only 15 items, but there was actually a lot more detail than I thought, let's just say, before I released the webcast request. So the mobile field app has had a couple of new additions to it. It's essentially the quick photo. We were getting some, requests to make it easier to take a picture, basically. So the enhanced workflow to do a picture is very simple now. Essentially, when you select your inspection form, there's now a picture camera, so you don't have to go into a table. You don't have to do anything. You can just immediately select the inspection form. In this case, the daily progress is our very most popular form. So the daily progress report, if you just want to start taking pictures, you just pick the camera and you're off and running. So that is also available on the Android device now. So you'll see the same thing. You'll see that camera button as soon as you open your daily report. So you don't have to go in and do anything else other than click that button. So this video shows the interaction now. So when you go ahead and pick your account and your daily report, you have all of your open daily reports for the project listed. And so these are the reports. So you basically just click the photo. You can go ahead and take the photo, say OK, and caption it. So again, it doesn't get any easier than that. It's almost like as easy as just taking a regular photo with your camera phone. Okay, so once it's been, that's it. There's nothing more to do. If you want, you can take more and more photos. And so what we're doing is we're sending the photo in memory. So it's actually taking the photo and sending it back to the website, but it's not showing. It's not. You don't have to wait. It'll just take the picture and go ahead and do it in the background. So that's why a lot of people were frustrated with the last version, because you would take a picture and then it would, when you want to submit the inspection, it would take, you go through all your photos. Whereas now it's doing it in the background. So you can just continue to take pictures, continue to do inspections. All the meanwhile, it's sending the photos without you knowing. So that was a huge improvement to the photo workflow. If you want to edit the photos that you've just sent, you would just click on Edit Parent Form, and these are where all the photos are stored in the parent form. So when you click on Edit Parent Form, it's basically you click the Photos tab, and there are all the photos that you'd sent. Okay, and when you want to do a markup, you just select Markup, and then it's got all the same tools the Document Markup tool has. So it's essentially the same control, and so you go ahead and put in boxes and text and arrows, just like a regular photo markup tool. So that's on the Android or the Apple device. And this is a live video of Jordan, our support guy, doing some photo editing here. And putting in some text. I'll just give that a second. Okay, so it's 12:38. We've got plenty of time to finalize this webcast in the next 15 minutes. So that's a safety concern, not wearing a jacket. You can put that in there. He's not wearing a hard helmet either. So very interesting. Okay. So once that's edited, you would save it, and once you save it, it's back on the website. So it's all part of the photo editing. The progress payment reporting, this is the next, we're almost about 3/4 through the webcast now. We've added some new things to the progress payment, and these are quite detailed, so you would want some training on this if you don't understand it right away, especially if you're a new user. The progress certificates, or if you're in the US, the payment applications are all automatic with Builterra based on the daily report quantities. So the progress item overages alerts, that's new, individual holdbacks, and the forecasting. So these are all very detailed additions to the progress payment. The progress dashboard, as you can see here, so this is where you're doing the inspections, and in real time you're seeing the inspection dashboard change, the progress dashboard. So now we have this thing where it shows you a red dot with the number of overages under that section. So even though that section is only 30% completed, which doesn't look like a problem, if you click onto that section group in the bid sheet, you'll actually see what's happening. So you can see those two items are now well over. So the quantities that they've recorded in the field, in some cases they're at 100% or slightly over 100%, and in this case 118%. So they actually underestimated the quantity in that. So you might want to do a change order of some sort to account for that. So that's the first thing, is the alert. So you'll be alerted to any item that's buried within the section group. It's been out for a couple months now. So the individual holdbacks was the second big thing that we added. And this was required. So when you have an item that's completely built, in this case a manhole, single manhole, but you still want to hold back 10% for inspection progress. So you don't want to pay them the full amount, in other words. So when you select this option here and the item, you can apply an individual holdback to that one item. So that's a specific holdback. And so that holdback now then turns the item blue, which that indicates that there's a whole individual holdback on the item. And it'll actually adjust the quantities to reflect the individual holdback right there. If you want a listing of all your holdbacks, there's an item holdbacks option in the payment certificate or the payment application. So when you select item holdbacks here, you get a list of all of the individual holdbacks in the PC. So this would be a detailed listing of all the holdbacks. And when you can export that to, when you print it, it goes directly to Excel for a record. So these holdbacks they've been requested for a while, and now they're out. You can still apply global, up to 3 global holdbacks to your project, but this individual one's requested for some time. Okay. So the bid item forecasting, again, is new. And so what it means is when you're doing a payment application or payment certificate, you can you'll have your contract amount, which is great. Then the forecast total is the same thing as your contract amount. In other words, there's no change to the contract quantities. Everything's good. So the forecasting was implemented. So when you select, when you make a payment certificate, when you pick into an item, in this case, the catch basins, you can see what's happening this period, but then maybe you get a call from the inspector, or you see a report come back that, hey, we underestimated the number of catch basins for the job. So you can click into forecasts and actually retype in what you think you need on the job. So if somebody says, oh, we've completely underestimated the number of catch basins, we need 10 more or 11 more than normal, then there's a significant change to that forecast. So it went from $62,000 to $91,000 in extras on that. So if you type in 35 for this and another 20 here, it'll turn the item red, as you've applied some kind of forecast change, and then it will forecast what the difference is between the quantity and the actual new forecasted item. So that's the first thing we added, was this forecasting. The second thing was, and you can track this for every single payment application or PC. So this will change over time as things change, but generally you can account for it. So when you select the actual item after you've applied the forecasting, you can see that this item here, that was the contract, that doesn't change. But then you'll see that now we're looking at an overage here. We're looking at the forecast remaining. Forecast remaining means it'll take whatever you built to date less what you're forecasting in total. So this is how we're starting to track now versus using the contract total. So the forecast total becomes your kind of new number here. And you can export the payment certificate based on the forecast here. So when you export to Excel, and right there's the bouncy button, okay? It goes to a regular payment application or PC, but now you're seeing a forecast total in the summary, as well as each individual section would have a forecast total right down to the individual item. So this has been out for about 6 weeks, and we're looking to do more training on that. If you want to do some training, just call us up. We can arrange an on-site session. So this is a pretty significant change in the Progress Payment product. The integration with other systems, we sort of touched on it in other webcasts, but we just want to remind everybody that we are integrated with various other products outside of the Builterra ecosystem. So integration in this case, we're going to highlight 2 integrations that are ready to go. It's just a matter of somebody looking to do it. The Trimble one, which we highlighted last November at the Trimble Dimensions conference, was a way to get better accuracy on your cell phone using the Trimble Catalyst antenna. And it only works with Android, by the way, as Apple doesn't release their code for better accuracy, I guess. I don't know what the situation is with Apple, but Android works just fine. The Autodesk connection, again, we're still asking people to look into Design Connect to do automated quantity takeoffs and cost estimating. So the Trimble piece here was something, like I said, I did a full session down in Las Vegas in November. We're getting a lot of interest for this. We don't sell the Trimble Catalyst. You'd have to buy that from Ansell or a Trimble dealer in Canada or the US. And same thing with the subscription. It requires a separate subscription for the receiver. So you'd have to have a CanNet subscription here in Canada to get the very good accuracy of the positioning. So the more accurate, the more you pay, I believe. So it's very affordable, and non-surveyors can use it. So this is where we saw that the geotechnical, the subsurface utility groups would be a huge huge interest in those two groups, because they don't need millimeter, but under 10 centimeter or even under 6 inches would be perfect. So this is a great device to use with Builterra, and we're the only app on the market for Trimble that is actually for engineering specific uses, versus there's a lot of asset management and GIS type applications. So this is our great way to introduce engineering. It's pretty simple. You pick the form. There's a new Catalyst option on the Android device. So when you select Catalyst, you'll have to log in with your CanNet subscription or whatever subscription you've purchased. That subscription is, there's an actual app that gets loaded on the cell phone for Trimble devices. So we'd have to go through this with you, probably do some training, but basically load the subscription, and then once it verifies that you're paying customer, then it'll give you access to all the satellite data. So the receiver is hooked through a cable to your Android device, and you'll start seeing satellites. So once that's connected, it overrides the phone GPS. So if you're just doing a single point, like a location point, then it'll be very accurate, not like your phone, which is out 3 to 5 meters. So the other thing we added, because engineers love to do survey, is this concept of points. So the points tab is available if you turn on the points, and it'll act just like a piece of survey equipment. So this is kind of an interesting feature for Builterra. So you can just add points. There it is there. You just select add, and this is the example of a dirt pile survey. You can get the location. So this would be the location of the dirt pile, and then you'll go ahead and add new points. So there they are there, points. And so you'll put in like a point name, say bottom of bank or top of bank, some kind of a code, and a point description. And this will be used as a survey point in Civil 3D. So when you submit, you can go ahead and start adding points along the bottom of bank. That was the idea. The other thing is we have a thing called walking mode, which or continuous. Let's just get to that. So the continuous mode lets you just start walking, and it'll sample every, in this case, 5 seconds. So it'll take a point every 5 seconds. So a great way to do a dirt pile or some kind of quantity calculation back in AutoCAD. You have all the points, and of course, if you're not using a drone for that work nowadays. So when you go ahead and do this continuous point pickup, all of that can be imported directly to Civil 3D or AutoCAD. If you're using, it'll pick it up in latitude, longitude, and you can export it directly to the right UTM coordinate system. So you'd have to have your drawing assigned to a coordinate system. So those are all the points that were collected. It's starting to look like a survey product almost at this point. Okay, we got 8 minutes left in the presentation, and we're almost done. So back in AutoCAD, I wrote an extension that we haven't released just yet. It'll bring in the points and draw a 3D polyline of the survey. So this is where we're going with Builterra. Great way to do a bit of survey accurate quantity. And so this was a routine that I wrote that accesses the Builterra cloud directly and produces points and a 3D polyline. So you can just, this is out of the box Civil 3D to build a quick file from that 3D polygon. So just like that. So this is real time from your cell phone. Just if you've already used Civil 3D, then it's a great add-on. Integration with Civil 3D. Again, we've got a couple minutes here, but I do like to promote this quite heavily, which is the concept of quantity takeoffs. So if you have good CAD standards, then and you have Builterra, you're probably ready to start looking at this, even if it's just for Civil 3D pipe networks. So I'm even trying to get people just to use it for the pipe network, because those are quite easy to extract data from. So pipe networks, this will be the setup. You can pick your template for your bid sheet or your schedule unit prices. At the storm sewer section table, you're going to grab sewer data, pick the properties that you want to assign to the pay items from the pipe. So once that's saved in the template, every time you open up Civil 3D, you can extract pipes right into a bid sheet. Same thing with water mains. If it's just a polyline, you're not using pipe networks, you can apply a property set. So this is adding extra data to the polyline. So between the pipes and the property sets on a polyline, you're pretty much about 80% completed the understanding of Design Connect. So Design Connect works in Civil 3D or AutoCAD. You can query the objects directly once that setup is complete. So once you query it, it's pulling it in. In this case, the water main's using the property set data. So again, this requires some training. Definitely, you need some CAD standards. But it should be as easy as querying the drawing. So let me just click on by here. So once you've loaded your pipe network, you can go ahead and fire up Design Connect and pick the tender or the bid sheet that you want to populate. In this case, subdivision bid, and pick the section table, manholes, sewers. This is the low-hanging fruit for extraction, because it's all part of the object. So you should be able to query pretty much any drawing you have today without having any issues. Okay. Got 5 more minutes to go in the webcast. And so once Builterra is finished, it provides you a price right within CAD. And you could select the Excel button here and download the bid sheet directly in the format that looks exactly like a schedule unit price. So that's kind of what I was trying to go for, when we first did this, was not just exporting to a file and then importing into Builterra. I really wanted to do a direct connect. So this is what this is about. Okay. So we can do the manholes and sewers within a few minutes. The water mains, all of that can be done. So about 30 to 50% of your bid can be completely automated. Okay. So the UI and the dashboards, we got a couple minutes left here. This is something that we are working towards. When we started looking at the scheduling piece and some of the new controls on the market, we started looking at, okay, let's start, adding a new look to Builterra. And part of that is, just because Builterra has been around for 6 years now. And so this is kind of a dashboard concept that we're looking at right now. And so when you open up the product, you'll see summaries of, inspectors and payment certificates, project summaries. We're still kind of building it, but this is where Builterra is going. So over the summer into the fall, we're looking at probably various types of gadgets that you can add to your dashboard. So everybody loves this sort of stuff. It's kind of Builterra is the steak, and we need some more sizzle. So this is the sizzle that we're looking to add over 2019. And a lot of the new controls that Microsoft's released allows us to do this. So we are looking at a much more, infographic analytics kind of dashboarding system for Builterra. So please be patient if you're already a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, then get on the system right away, and we can. By the time you're up to speed, you'll probably have all these new tools that we were talking about regarding the dashboarding and scheduling. So I think that we can come to a close here. It's been exactly 1 hour, 12:57. And if you have any questions, you could text me them. I know we're short on time, but you can email me questions. If you want to do an on-site training, please let us know. We're available. We can do webcast training. Essentially, there's a lot of new stuff, and it'd be really cool if you guys could start using it and getting some benefit out of it. So with that, I'll open the floor, and you can text me some questions over the next few minutes if you wanted to. Okay, well, if nobody has any questions, it was really great having everybody with me today. And it was a bit of a whirlwind tour. Like I said, I wanted to do all 15 new items in one webcast, but once I got into it, I knew it was going to be a lot of information. So please call me or email me if you have any further questions or you want to do something on site. I'd love to work with you guys this spring and this summer. And with that, have a great weekend, and hope to hear from you soon. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Jeff.
No problem. Thanks, Nick.